綺麗な映像見たの初めてや。はあ、楽しかった。最高、アメリカ最高や。
Here I am as a kid. Now I'm a washed-up pro snowboarder, dad, and curious food nerd, hell-bent on new adventures. I'm Josh Rosen. Food and adventure have led me to some of the most interesting places. So Huckberry is sending us off to source some of the freshest ingredients, all while taking it in through the lens of the locals. And each adventure ends with a feast. This is Dirt. Like others before us, we've been drawn back to this country, a place where craftsmanship is cherished, nature is worshipped, and the glow of convenience stores is always in the distance. We're back in Japan, in a region known to be the cultural and historical heart of this fascinating country. Let's go check out Kansai. First stop, Shiga Prefecture. It's fall and the leaves are popping, and Shiga's centerpiece, Lake Biwa, is glistening. I'm just gonna take the elevator down to this beautiful lakeside restaurant to meet our chef,
Nice to meet you.
Mr. Coleman Griffin, a California kid whose culinary obsession landed him a job in a Michelin star restaurant in Tokyo. 5 years, countless pop-ups, and life experiences later, he's head chef at Sower, an omakase spot in the countryside with a view.
So we're gonna be using some of this today.
Oh, they smell incredible.
There's a little plant here we're gonna grab.
I can understand being a chef in Tokyo. Here you are in the countryside, an expat. What's that experience like?
Well, I think the first way to answer that question is to remember that chefs' personal and professional lives are quite intertwined. So we oftentimes, where the work starts and stops is hard to know. So coming here was both a professional and personal journey. You know, like experiencing the countryside, you learn things about food, but you also learn things about people, culture, new places, language. That to me is like endlessly fascinating, having that like stimulus just like every day. It's also challenging, but in the end, very rewarding. So in Japan, I think many of the food tends to fall into sort of like strict categories, which makes sense because most of Japanese food is very focused, whether you have yakitori or ramen or soba or sushi. Rather than trying to categorize this in one of those existing, spaces, we've decided to call our cuisine Kohoku cuisine. Kohoku is the region that we're located in, and that's primarily where we take ingredients from.
At Sower, Chef Coleman has curated a dining experience like no other. A set menu with regional ingredients, even down to the plates and cutlery, prepared by a seemingly choreographed crew. A taste of Lake Biwa and beyond. All right, enough of this wannabe chef's table scene. Tomorrow morning, Coleman is going to show us how fruitful this region really is. Early civilizations could flourish if they had access to fresh water, and Japan had that, especially right here at Lake Biwa. Complex irrigation canals and rivers in and out of the lake made early rice farming here very productive. Rice is life. The lake was crucial for the growth of the nearby cities of Kobe, Osaka, and then capital Kyoto, providing trade routes, a natural defense from enemies, and yes, lots of fish.
So fun just to have this source of ingredients, like kind of, right across the street from our restaurant.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that an interesting part about being a chef in a new place, is the unlocking all of the things that must exist everywhere. It's got to be a lot of discovery.
I mean, what better way to connect with Japan than to connect through food? The food culture surrounding Lake Biwa is so rich and deep, and it's really cool to be able to just be a small part of that.
Coleman's immersed himself with local food producers and craftsmen, and today he's taking us to a few of his favorites. Starting off on the island of Okishima, once an island of samurais, now an island of cats, and an aging fishing community that still does things the old-fashioned way, through a 1,000-year-old technique called Erie fishing. This morning, we're with one of the youngest of the last remaining Erie fishermen, and his mission is to teach others about the practice and develop relationships with local chefs like Coleman to ensure the future of this dying tradition. Erie fishing is a passive fishing technique where they use these long nets to funnel fish swimming along the lake's currents into enclosures where they are later collected.
で大体2つ2段構えになってて、泳いできた魚がこっちに抜けるのと、こっちから泳いできた魚があそこに見える杭に沿って泳いでいって、その下に網が仕掛けてあって、網に沿って泳いでいって、最後はこの壺って呼ばれる網に入って魚が取れます。
With minimal bycatch and very little environmental impact, it's cool to see old practices being preserved. Thanks for the sweet little freshwater fishies. Our first ice cream break, and now Coleman's taking us north to a town that's famous for one thing: knife making. The story goes that over 700 years ago, a samurai sword maker from Kyoto moved to this area to build sickles for farming. He hoped that his blades would no longer take life, but instead help sustain it. Centuries later, the scent of forged steel and the grinding of stone wheels still fills the air. Here at Ryusen Knives, the tradition carries on.
Most of the knife makers in this area stick to chef knives, but Ryusen has like a wide selection of things they make. Chef knives, but also cutlery, steak knives, and other wares.
These large, katana-like blades are used to fillet 500-pound bluefin tuna in fish markets. Quality steel, long-lasting sharpness, and the Damascus blade patterns are some of their specialties here. The high-carbon steel is hammered and forged to stretch and strengthen the knife, creating some of the sharpest blades in the world. Then rigorous stages of heat treating, shaping, grinding, and hand finishing ensure its precision and beauty. Patience, focus, and discipline is quietly present in everyone working here. Skills passed down for generations.
Like historically, if you were to look at European knives, like especially battle knives, they're like big and bulky and heavy, and its strength comes from that, right? Like it's powerful and it's for like injuring somebody that has armor.
Sure.
Whereas if you look at Japanese knives and where they're descended from, if you look at like a samurai sword, it's like long and thin and slender, and oftentimes the handle will have like, you know, ornamental design and small like nuance. So that can be seen in today's, you know, we don't make samurai swords anymore or battle knives.
So when you buy
anymore.
a Japanese knife, you're essentially a tiny samurai in the kitchen.
You're a tiny samurai.
What's in it?
Surprise! We're back with our buddy Rip, translator, fixer, medicine man, and master of the convenience store hacks for healthy living.
Hey.
Where's Josh? Oh, here we go.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, I got you the triangle, man.
Oh, I love a good triangle.
Kelp in soy sauce or bonito flakes? Which you want?
Kelp me in the face, brother.
Kelp on your face.
Rip in, right?
Hey, Josh, that's not how you eat it.
What?
In Japan, it's efficiency. Here we go. Here's the number 1, number 2, number 3. You are supposed to feel suspicious about these numbers.
Okay.
So 1, you pull it down all the way around. And then number 2, you pull it this way.
Come on.
And then number 3, you pull it that way.
What?
Look at how beautiful it is. And then you eat it. Japanese convenience store food comes with style.
Thanks for keeping us from being kooks in your country, Rip. For centuries, farmers have worked in harmony with Lake Biwa. In spring, rising waters would flood their rice paddies, inviting carp to swim in, feed on pests, and enrich the soil. Villagers then preserved the carp with salt and rice, creating funazushi, a delicacy born from necessity. And this is one of the last places in the world still making
When
it.
people ask me all the time, oh, what do you like about Shiga? And what do you think is special about the foodways of this area? For me, like, the number 1 answer is always funazushi. Sick, right?
That's insane.
Meet Kensuke, chef and 7th-generation funazushi maker. And this is his modern temple to the ancient tradition. The carp has been fermented whole for 2 years, bones and all. And that orange stuff inside are fish eggs, all adding to the texture and rich umami flavor. I present to you one of the oldest known Japanese dishes, funazushi.
Cheers.
Ooh-wee! Stinky, sour, maybe a touch of passion fruit. Delicious.
OK から取り出すところ見てみますか。
Can you guess what modern-day Japanese food originates from this delicacy? Lucky for us, we get to take a peek at this centuries-old practice and find out.
はい、このフロアには僕しか来ないです。はい、でこちらどうぞどうぞ。
The salted fish and rice are tightly packed into these barrels, untouched for 2 years, while nature does its magic. Lactic acid and microbes break down the flesh, enhancing the umami flavor and preserving the fish.
大体50キロぐらい。
Kensuke changes the water on these lids daily, which acts as a natural barrier, keeping air and the contaminants out.
がこの桶の中と外の唯一の接点なんですね。ですのでこの水がきれいじゃないと純粋な乳酸菌だけになってこないんですね。
This room feels like a living, breathing organism, a reminder of how alive fermented foods really are.
天井が少し黒くなってるのがこのうちの船寿司の味を作ってくれる金の住処だと言われてます。
The seal has been broken, and a burst of sour, funky cheese aroma fills the room. To taste this 2-year-old fermented rice is a very special treat.
It's so cool to see this. I've been here to his shop so many times, but he's never shown me this. So it's just being revealed, so there's no air incorporated into the rice. So this is the freshest it can be, and it's like his favorite expression of this product. It's the best flavor. So much umami.
Wow. That is the most umami.
Some people liken it to cheese.
It is similar to a cheese, like a strong cheese. And if you haven't figured it out yet, the more modern-day food that came from Funazushi happens to be, you guessed it, sushi.
Because through the fermentation process, it makes the rice and the fish sour.
Yeah.
So the word sushi is like in reference to that sour taste. Then our interpretation of sushi nowadays is like that we make rice and we add vinegar to season the rice to make
create
it sour.
the sourness.
So that word is related to like this.
Wow.
One nice little package of Funazushi rice to go. Thank you. And peace out, Coleman. We'll see you at the final feast. You have all heard of Kyoto. Here, the past lingers, and the food culture is as old as the stones beneath your bicycle. Geishas, Michelin stars, and listening bars. Centuries-old tea houses and temples. A long history of Buddhists and emperors created a food culture built around rituals and respect for the ingredients. You know these active locals are eating right.
Yeah, all the colors.
At this restaurant, the dining experience starts when you walk through this gate.
I don't think I've ever seen so many Japanese maples in one place.
In Kyoto, the gardens are famous, like many representations of nature. And here, it isn't just a backdrop, it's part of the meal. First up, dashi. Fish flakes and kelp broth is the backbone of Kyoto cuisine. Delicate tofu skins known as yuba will melt in your mouth. Then the fish, pristine and precise, a taste of what's in season. In Kyoto, the cuisine is delicate and intentional, and the ingredients aren't just chosen, they're respected. This restaurant isn't alone in this beautiful Japanese garden either. On the other side of the property is what I like to call the soybean steam room, where those silky tofu skins are made, known as yuba in Japanese. And Mrs. Yamuchi is running the show with her son and a few other young employees.
Can you tell me quickly, if you know the history of yuba?
社長、湯葉の歴史ってご存知ですか？中国から。
Just make it up. Whatever you think.
聞いてこれを言って。
Yeah. I'll ask you.
Hold
you
on,
ask
hold on,
him.
hold
He
on.
tells.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah.
He is explaining. He's pollinating. 聞いてください。
And this, folks, is a little insight into how the majority of our interviews go here. Always an adventure.
Now she got.
Okay. Can you tell me about the history of yuba? How did it get to Japan?
はい。中国のお坊さんが日本に比叡山のそうでしたっけ？
日本のお坊さんが。
Yuba is believed to have come from China around 800 years ago with the strictly vegetarian Buddhist monks. And thanks to Kyoto's high-quality spring water that the soybeans need to soak in overnight, this city has become the yuba capital of Japan. And soaking the beans just right is the secret.
するのに適した硬さかどうかっていうのがすごくやっぱり絶妙で、毎日だからその豆の状態も違えば出てくる豆乳も違う。でそれで今日は綺麗な豆乳が出たなっていう時はやっぱりいい仕事ができたなと思います。はい。
Creating a consistent product is the goal here. The soybean is slowly heated until a thin film forms on the top. That's the skin, or yuba. Then, just at the right moment, it's time to pull those skins off.
So I could do this all day.
Thinner than crepes. We'll roll them up like soybean croissants,
And then you can eat it.
and voila, mind blown. Thanks for the silky yuba, friends, my new favorite Japanese texture. Connecting communities and shaping this place's history. The Kamo River is not just a waterway, it is the lifeblood of the city. And that makes the cypress and cedar forests that surround Kyoto its bones, giving the city its structure, its identity. The people here have been working with wood for millennia and have developed beautiful, natural ways to preserve, strengthen, and elevate it. So that brings us down this unassuming alley to a shop that's keeping the ancient art of urushi alive. This is Taku. He's in charge here. From coating wooden bowls, furniture, and even samurai armor, urushi is everywhere in Kyoto.
Oh, that thing is beautiful. That gradient colorway.
Yes.
These wooden surfboards have been finished with many coats of this durable, glossy finish. Urushi is a natural resin derived from the local urushi tree sap, collected one drop at a time. And Taku's family has been in this business for over 100 years, right here. This is where they refine and package the sappy substance. A barrage of natural colors and woody scents. Raw sap is stirred and heated at low temperature to remove excess water and
But
impurities.
it used to be done by hand.
done by hand all day.
Mixing, scraping, stirring to the right thickness and color. It can take months to get to the final product.
なんかこれから綺麗な地球とそういう文化を子供たちに残せるっていうことなんじゃないのかなと思って、僕たちこの漆屋でやりたいのはそういう綺麗な地球と漆の文化を次世代につなぐっていうことです。
Natural urushi production is disappearing in Kyoto. So Taku is on a mission to rethink urushi and how we can create a circular economy of craft makers, forest stewards, artists, and sellers. He is thinking much larger than himself. He's replanting urushi trees and working to connect people back to nature, and supporting other local makers in the area as well. This is a workshop that he built in an abandoned school, where he employs woodworkers to shape cedar bowls and plates.
Nature and craft and my family and everything is connected.
Sharing love for nature through craft and being outside with others. It's perfect.
今この器では現代の人には漆が届かないからサーフボードとかスケートボードとか自転車とかなんか人が楽しむものでこう人と自然をつなぐツールとして今漆を使いたいなと思ってる。
One handmade urushi lacquered bowl and the sickest deck ever. My dude. Now we're headed to the other side of town. But we'll always stop for ice cream and cold, clear streams. We've made it to the village of Wazuka. Here, the hills are well-drained and fertile, and the streams create morning fog, which protects the plants from frost. With cool temperatures at night and sunny, warm days, we're in green tea heaven.
日本で一番古くお茶を作り始めたのが京都っていう土地で、私このエリアは特に800年以上前から。
It wasn't until Noriko left her village and traveled the world that she truly came to appreciate her tea and the joy of sharing it with others. Now she takes pride in keeping the tea ceremony tradition alive and vibrant in the region where it was perfected. It's beautiful.
This is persimmon.
Oh, persimmon tree. Is it ripe now?
Yes. これ柿とお茶っていうのはすごく関係性が深くって、で昔は砂糖とかすごく高くて、お菓子とか一般的に作れなかったので、これを干し柿にして、お茶菓子、今でいう茶道で必ず飲む前に必ずお菓子食べられると思うんです。その一番古い歴史のお菓子っていうのがこの干し柿です。
Ochagashi are a big part of traditional Japanese tea ceremonies. And Noriko is taking it one step further by creating special dishes that utilize the stems, residues, and fresh tea leaves in her recipes. Like this matcha pumpkin soup and these crispy tea leaves.
Like so creative.
これも干し柿です。
We love seeing younger generations keep these time-honored traditions alive while adding their own unique twists and flavors. Arigatou gozaimasu. Just down the road, and we've made our way to Japan's first capital, Nara, an ancient city built around this megalith of a Buddhist temple. Here, the deer are respected as sacred messengers of God. Hey, little fella. Casinos are banned in Japan, but we've made it to the next best legal thing that we can bet on. Kirin, also known as fixed gear track bike racing. The Nara City Crit could also be the origins of Mario Kart. Kate's betting on 37. I'm putting my money down on Yoshi.
Number 2 and 4?
Rager of a night here in the ancient capital city. Time to get some rest. We were all complaining about a 3 a.m. wake-up call. Until we arrived and met this guy, who's been waking up at this hour for 65 years.
All right.
You've heard of ramen, soba, and udon. This morning, we are making the thinnest noodle of them all, known as somen. And for 200 years, this family has been making these thin, white, delicious noodles from scratch. Never too early for some noodles. Often served cold with a simple soy dipping sauce, these whole wheat noodles have a delicate, mild flavor with a unique springy texture. Let's suit up and see how the sausage is made. Another day and another flattering hairnet. Do I do you now? No? Okay. Oh, pardon me. Did you all meet yet? This is Mr. Yoshimida, the Somen King.
And I see him touching the dough and manipulating it. What's he doing?
これは全て小麦粉は自然のものですので、全てそのメキシコがその小麦粉の質によって合わせていかねばならんのです。だから一番難しいです。同じメキシコは毎日できないです。
An important reminder of the nuance involved with what may seem to be a simple recipe. Wheat, salt, water, and a starchy ingredient called kuzu to give the noodles a shiny look and bouncy texture. We'll get more into kuzu later on. Once the exact moisture content is reached, the stretching begins. Over and over, the dough is pulled by these retro machines. This process goes on and on for hours. The dough gets thinner and thinner and thinner, and the noodles get stronger and bouncier. What sets these somen noodles apart is that they don't use oil in their recipe like other factories, allowing the flavor of the flour to shine through and giving them ultimate strength.
Oh, amazing.
これで2メーター時間かけて引っ張るんです。
After the noodles have been stretched thin, they are taken to the drying room for 7 days before being cut and packaged. Somen noodles have a long history in Japan and are often associated with longevity due to their thin, long shape. This guy is 83. Noodle makers know some things. Thanks for the nudes. We're headed up the valley to a little town with a long connection to traditional Japanese medicine. We're here to learn about kuzu, the secret ingredient in Mr. Yashimida's bouncy somen noodles. Kuzu is a thick, viney plant that seems to grow everywhere around here, and its starchy roots are what we're after. Here at the Merino Kuzu factory, the pulp of the kuzu root is rinsed with the spring water over and over again, and the starch is left to settle on the bottom of the tanks. Now I see why they call this beautiful chalky material white gold. These confectionery chefs show us the magic of this white gold. Combinations of rapidly mixing with hot water, then boiling, and then icing create this chewy and delicious jello-like dessert cherished by the locals. This one comes with roasted soybean powder. Nara, thank you for sharing your ancient wisdom with us and your delicious, bouncy, chewy food. We'll wind our way over holy mountains, down clear rivers, carving a jumper's paradise. Onwards to the salty breeze and fireflies. Weekend warriors from Osaka and Kyoto head to the meandering coastal prefecture of Mie, often in search of swell. Rip's buddy runs the local surf club. The flag is still up, which for them means no surfing till the beach is nice and tidy. All right, let's go surf. Stacked, chaotic lineup like the Rockaways in July. Insanely organized surf fans. 300 people, walled up beach break. Going straight. First impressions are important. So when a grandmother rolls up on a moped with a 5mm wetsuit on, you just know it's gonna be a good day. This town is known for ama divers, or sea women, and they are fascinating. These women have been freediving these waters for shellfish, abalone, and pearls for over 2,000 years. I mean, come on. What's the saying? Teach a man to fish and he'll feed his family for a day. Teach a woman to fish and she'll feed a village. And though their numbers are significantly waning, the tradition is holding strong by women like Setsuko, who has been diving these waters since she was a little girl.
ずっとこう代々親らがすることを見てきたもんで、もうそのまま自分もやっぱりそこの甘になる思ってな。あ、ごめんなさい。そっち向いたら言わないかな。甘が好きです。
Burnt leaves used as anti-fogging agent, and lead weights tied on with old tire tubes. We're learning how it's done here in Toba, Japan. No snorkel or breathing device for ama. Just long, deep breaths, calm and methodical. Today we're on the search for turban snails, large, meaty mollusks hidden in the crevices of the reef. I now know what it's like to swim with a real mermaid.
50年で一番楽しかったです今日。
No! Did you hear that? What? She said like the best day ever in 50 years.
Bucket list, Check. We'll never forget you, Satsuko. We're pretty sure Rip knows every skater in Japan, and we're here for it. Unfortunately, it's raining, but at B7 Skate Shop, it doesn't seem to matter. A takoyaki station, perfect indoor mini ramp, and little girls who rip. Rain or shine, there's 100% stoke per capita.
카메라 렌즈니強い!
This is a real skate shop, from groms to grandparents. They might even have every skate video ever made on these shelves. Lunchtime. Local unagi that Rip swears is the best in Japan, and an insane buffet. This is a public service announcement. Support your local skate shop. We've now learned that this part of Mie is one of the wettest places in Japan. And up here in the hills, it's still raining.
私たちが表現したいこの地域の環境というのは一つの味とか香りで表現できるものではなくて、もう私たちがここでお米を植えてここで暮らしてここの水を使って生きていく営みと呼ばれる人生のサイクルそのものなんですね。なので私たちが、生活をする中で感じたことや思っていること、あとは一日の終わりにどういうお酒を飲んでリラックスしたいか、そういったものが全て私たちのお酒の設計図になっています。
This is Shinpei Gensaka, a 7th generation sake maker whose family brewing philosophy is built around respect for nature. And they start by using all local ingredients. High quality local rice is the body of the sake. Then the crystal clear local water from the Miya River is the breath. One specialty sake is brewed only when the fireflies come out in the spring, a sign from nature that the water is the absolute purest. Starchy rice is polished, cleaned, and soaked. Then the rice is steamed, not boiled, so that it becomes soft on the inside yet slightly firm on the outside. And then it's time for breakfast. Once this magical dome of rice is done steaming, Shinpei and his family must move quickly. Stretch it out. It's time to move. Timing is everything in the sake brewing process. The temperature of the rice needs to be brought down quickly. Spreading and massaging the rice keeps it from clumping. The goal is to create an optimal environment for the fermentation process to begin. Over and over, mixing and massaging. Like how a sourdough starter is the catalyst that brings bread to life, koji is the sake starter, a mold that spreads amongst the rice and releases enzymes that break down the starches into fermentable sugars. Remember, starch into sugar into alcohol. This rice is alive. The air filled with a deep, earthy smell of steam and fermentation. I now understand why they say that sake is not born in stillness, but in motion.
Watching your process, the whole family is working together, and it's really beautiful, but it's like almost a dance. Do you love that?
Yes, もちろんすごく楽しんで。お酒作りのプロセスは非常に長いので、全ての時間を大切にしているんですけども、一番嬉しいのは最後飲む時。
And now, after a long day's work, a taste of the infamous Kotu Hataru, aka Firefly Sake.
こっちの水は辛いぞ、こっちの水は甘いぞっていうホタルが好む甘い水を表現して作ったお酒ですね。
When the fireflies are happy, the river and the sake are happy. It's all connected here. And just like that, we're off like the mist. We came to Kansai seeking a better understanding of Japanese craftsmanship. And we found it in every item we brought back for Coleman.
Nudes.
Coleman's got his mini samurai swords ready, and the kitchen meticulously prepped like the gardens of Kyoto. First, a toast to the countless masters, artisans, and keepers of tradition, and to our chef, whose deep appreciation for these traditions comes to life through his food. And here's to the people, bringing it to life in new and creative ways.
Oh, gorgeous.
Taku reminded us that nature unlocks craftsmanship. The urushi trees, the pure waters of the Mia River, the roots of the kuzu plant, and the tea fields. And it is craftsmanship that unlocks human connection. In Japan, every ingredient has a long, long story of tradition, skill, and human intention. And this is why we will always be pulled back to this country. Sayonara, friends.